Hello all you beautiful souls. We are back for the new moon in Aquarius video, as you saw by the description and the rising signs. But before I get into that, I just wanted to make a few announcements and just have a little chat. I have my cup of cacao, which I'm almost done with. And as you know, I have friends at the Cacao Laboratory, and this really helps me to get centered, open up my heart space so that I can channel these energies for you, and also so that I don't have multiple tabs open, and it helps me to stay focused. So if you are new to me, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. But I have most of my personal planets in air and fire signs. Actually, most of my astrology is air and fire. So I do tend to go off on tangents, and I just think having an open third eye and crown, you just are open. And so drinking cacao helps me to stay grounded and helps me to channel in a way where I'm staying focused. So it's still Mercury in retrograde in Aquarius. It just went back into Capricorn, but I might be all over the place. So I just wanted to say that first. And if you are interested in trying cacao, I have a link down below. You get 15% off with my code, and they are my friends, so I know them. They actually don't live that far from me here in New York. And I do have an episode with one of the co-founders on the Awaken and Align podcast, which I think I forgot to link on the last video, but I'll try to remember to link it in this video. Excuse me. So today was the last episode of season 2 for the Work podcast with Divine Harmony. She's an astrologer, and she talks about America's Pluto return and the collective shadow work that we all need to do. So if you're interested in that, it's up on my channel right now, and it's also on Spotify, Apple, and Stitcher. If you're into astrology, it's a great listen. I host 2 podcasts, the Work podcast, where we talk about decolonial work in the spiritual and wellness communities, and then Awaken and Align, which is really, it's turning into how we can use spirituality in order for us to first help us with our lives, navigate our lives, and then bringing our gifts to the world in a way where we do this collective healing and contribute to the collective dream. These are all topics for Aquarius, by the way, which we're still in Aquarius season. And Awaken and Align is going to come back on, I believe, February 2nd. So it's the day before Mercury goes direct. And I think those are all the announcements from me. If you are interested in booking a personal reading with me, I do clarity readings. All the links are down below. And if you want to donate, if you feel called to, only if you feel called to, it's not required. You can do that as well. And again, I really want this to be a co-creative process where you contribute, I contribute, and it really is this idea that we're creating the space together. Co-creation on all levels. And that's what I love about Aquarius energy anyway. It's really about collectivism. It's about humanitarianism and really pushing the collective forward on our highest timeline. Okay, so there are definitely dual aspects to every sign. There's a dark and a light, there's a shadow and a light, and I'm calling in the highest timeline for all of us. So let's talk about this new moon really briefly. And again, like, I always try to be brief, but I just start getting messages from me personally, but then what I feel from you when you're watching this and what you need to hear at this time. So the new moon in Aquarius is happening on January 31st, and I'm recording this on January 25th, so it's just 6 days away. It's happening so if you are on the East Coast, which is where I am, this will be happening at 12:46 a.m. on February 1st. And if you're in Europe as well, this book that I'm looking at, actually, they always use Pacific time, so I always have to like mentally do the math. And it's happening at 12 degrees of Aquarius. So you want to look at where you have 12 degrees of Aquarius, 3 degrees before, so 9 degrees, and 3 degrees after, which is 15. Personally, I have my moon and my Venus right there conjunct this new moon. So in my third house, and the third house is about communication, social media, community. So I already know by looking at that my moon and my Venus are being activated. And I know there's a new beginning, there's a new initiation there. So that's how you kind of work with the degrees and the energies of the sign, and also the lunation. So it's a new moon, it's a new beginning. And for me, this one is, I really personally like it. And I did want to mention though that I oftentimes see astrologers and other spiritual practitioners mentioning challenging and rough times. And I say it too, right? Because it's in our innate human nature to not want to be challenged. We want to be comfortable. We want to feel safe. But this is where I'm inviting all of us to lean in to whatever the energies are presenting to us. Just because something is challenging doesn't mean that it's bad. This universe is neutral, so there are going to be more challenging aspects. There are going to be more challenging times, but it doesn't mean that we avoid them. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that we are learning something differently. And when I look at some charts, natal charts, where people have all these beautiful trines and sextiles, which are more like easygoing, easy flowing energies, the person always tells me, I don't feel motivated. It's like I can't get on this diet plan, or I can't seem to get this done. It's because we need tension, we need conflict to grow. We need the squares, we need the oppositions, which is a full moon. We need that grit in the pearl, in the oyster, to rub against us, to catalyze us to move forward. So I just want to also say that just because I like something doesn't mean that it's not going to be challenging either. I think if we take the invitation from the cosmos and from how we feel internally, that is where the breakthrough comes. Because I'm just learning a lot more about Taoism and Buddhism, and that whole spiritual philosophy is about being in the flow. You can't control your outer realm. You can only be at peace here. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist monk who just passed, who just transitioned earlier this week. I have read so many of his books and his quotes, and that's a whole nother video, but I just felt like all of these legends, all of these people who we've looked up to are transitioning to the other side. And I think that it is up to us now to hold the torch, to be the flame holders to the generations that are coming up. And I really do believe that has a lot to do with Jupiter being in Pisces. You know, Jupiter is the planet of the guru, the teacher, and Pisces is like this huge, expansive, cosmic ocean of, you know, the unified field, the oneness that connects us all. And it doesn't mean that these souls, their energy isn't here. It's just their physical bodies have transcended. So again, that's a whole nother video about mortality and death, which is an illusion. But I just thought it was interesting that, you know, Aquarius is such an expanded energy. It's like expanding the limits of your mind and what's possible. And then we go into Pisces season on, I believe, February 18th, which is all about spirituality. It's all about, February 18th, which is all about expanding the limits of your dreams, of your imagination. So Aquarius is a very cold sign. It's still ruled by Saturn, but the modern ruler is Uranus. And Uranus, if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, I shared Uranus was discovered in 1781, and it was the first planet discovered with a telescope. And so that is why it's usually associated with like technology and like awakenings and like, oh my God, there's other planets besides Saturn. And Saturn is usually considered to be like the limits, right? Like the borders, the restrictions. So I think it's just, I personally relate more to modern astrology, where each time something is discovered or it comes into the awareness of human consciousness, where it opens up another layer of our collective psyche. And Aquarius being ruled by Saturn, which is like tradition and time and discipline and responsibilities, and it's a pretty serious sign, but we need Saturn. And Uranus, which is all about breakthrough and awakening, and to some degree Aquarius rules astrology. So I think that this new moon in Aquarius is an opportunity for us to really start thinking like larger scale, have a more expanded awareness of everything that's possible, tapping into the collective conscious, tapping into the unified mind. And I love that book. Oh my God, I'm having a total Mercury retrograde brain fart right now. Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. I love that book. It's all about creativity, and how there's one quote in there where she says, all creative ideas, like all music, all art have already been created. All of those are in our collective consciousness. And those downloads are presented to people that spirit thinks that will download it and then create it through their vessel. And if that person doesn't take that on, they'll share that idea with somebody else who they think will. So I think this season is very important to allow for stillness and allow yourself to hear and sense with your sixth senses, the subtle realms of what spirit is trying to download into you that you can birth through your own vessel. And if you're not willing to do it for whatever reason, as my mom likes to say, limiting believing, or any kind of like hang-ups that you're still working through, that idea is going to go to somebody else who has done the work. And I just think that concept is so interesting, because how many times have you thought about something like an idea, and later on you saw it somebody else doing, and you're like, what the fuck, like that was my idea. Like I really feel like that's what happens. It's like, if you're not going to do it, then that idea and that creative idea needs to be shared with the collective. So they're going to choose somebody else to have that download. And I choose that word download very specifically because it is an intuitive hit. It is something that comes into you when you are not so focused on your level of survival, your level of safety and security. And I say this having so much compassion for everybody right now, because we are still technically in a pandemic, even though some people act like it never happened. And there are people out there who really do need to survive. People need to pay bills, and not everybody has resources. Not everybody in America has healthcare. Like, what? So I understand that, and that's why I do the work podcast and bring these things to the awareness of the collective. And you can hold that within you. And that's the beauty of like Aquarius energy and also Pisces energy, is that you can hold multiple things at once. That lends to our multidimensionality. You can be aware of what's not right in this current moment, while also recognizing the beauty of life and being grateful for everything that you have, and then also wanting something different, and then also looking at the past and saying, wow, that kind of sucked, or that was amazing, you know? And I think that's what the retrogrades, Venus, Mercury, are asking of us, because they're personal planets, is to do that inner reflection. And a lot of the people around me, and if I could use my sister for example, hi Sarah, if you're watching this, a lot of people feel stuck, and obviously we feel stuck because here in the northern hemisphere it's winter. You can't do much. You're stuck inside and you're beholden to the Mother Nature and what she has in store, right? But also I think most of us are being asked to be still because we need to do that inner reflection and that inner like audit of, well, let's take Venus, for example. She's going to go forward on January 29th, which is this weekend, which is right before the new moon in Aquarius. And she's coming out of a retrograde, and when she's slowing down is when you're starting to understand, oh my gosh, like, and this is probably going to be in the Capricorn house. No, it is going to be in your Capricorn area of life, where you've been reflecting on the past, where you've been like, okay, like that, whatever was going on back then. So let's take Venus is like relationships and money. I definitely hold responsibility for how I acted in this two-way relationship, okay? Like I can't blame my ex for everything, even though I want to, but also he has to take responsibility for his half that he did too. So it's like that understanding of what happened in the past, and then going forward, when Venus goes forward, it's like, okay, like what do I want to take, what do I want to get out of this? What have I learned? Well, maybe I should have communicated better. Maybe I should have worked on my own intimacy issues. Like I'm just giving you an example, even though those are my examples. And then Mercury retrograde, which the pre-shadow started in Capricorn, and then the retrograde went to Aquarius, and then now it's back in Capricorn, it's going to go forward, is like really this idea of the past and the future, like reflecting back on your past, what do you want for your future, Aquarius? And it's interesting because all of the planets right now are, and I forgot what it's called in astrology. Oh my God. See, I told you, sorry. Mercury retrograde, it's really affecting my mind because it's in my third house of the mind. But it's this phenomenon in astrology where all of the planets are on one side of the nodes. So the south node has moved in to Scorpio, the south node, and the north node has moved in to Taurus. And all of the planets are in between that. So there's a cluster of planets in Capricorn, and there's a cluster of planets in Aquarius, and then we have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, and then we have Uranus and Taurus. So they're all kind of in this soup bowl, if you will. And so some areas of your life are being more activated than the other ones on the other side of your chart. So there is this theme of like, okay, what are the structures that you want to break apart? What is it that you are willing to put in for the long term? Because Capricorn is a serious sign, and Venus in Capricorn is like not the sexiest sign, but it's like, are we in this for the long term? Like, what do I want for the future, right? And then Mercury being here is like highlighting that even further with like communication and how I think about it. And then Pluto's there being like, we need to transform this, come on. And Pluto's in its last degree of Capricorn, so it's almost finished with the work that it needs to do here. So yeah, so the 28th, Mercury is conjunct Pluto, and at that degree is when Venus was conjunct Pluto, I think back in December. And then January 29th, Venus stations direct. The 30th, the sun is square to Uranus, and I think this aspect is actually, in my view, it's positive, but not all like information and not like sudden things are always positive, right? But I really feel that everything is meant for your own truth, your own awakening. And then on the 31st of January or February 1st, depending on where you live, we have this new moon in Aquarius. And then on February 3rd, Mercury goes direct. So there is this huge shift of energy, which is what I was trying to get at. I just wanted to set the scene for you. So like this week, I felt it starting Monday, yesterday. I don't know if you felt it but I felt something was shifting. Something was like, the stagnancy was like there for a while, and then all of a sudden, like, the tectonic plates started moving. And I think that is like all of these retrograde planets are starting to change direction, and this is our opportunity now to take action on the things that need to happen. Now, are things going to change right away? No, because Mercury has a 2-week post shadow that ends, I think, February 17th. And then Venus has a post shadow that comes fully out of those degrees on March 3rd. So February to me, and this isn't a February forecast, but I'm just like setting this up for you. February to me is more of an integration month. It's more of like, what were the lessons that I learned from December and January, and how am I going to now integrate this into my life? And really, I feel personally on an energetic level that shit's going to change, or I hope you have that inclination and you accept that invitation from spirit. But things are going to change in March when it's Aries season. Like that Ace of Wands, that Aries season, the fire is going to come in, and you're going to want to like, you want to like get running, right? And all the planets are going to be direct at that point. So just, if you feel stagnant, if you feel stuck right now, just be patient, because these are times when we're supposed to hold energy. We're supposed to be receptive and creative. And you don't want to push when you're supposed to hold in. Just like waves in the ocean, right? You don't paddle out when you go surfing when the tide has gone out, right? You wait, you observe. And so you really want to work with these energies. You don't want to push. You don't want to control. You don't want to put all of this effort out there only to have, like, in a month from now, all of that stuff coming back to you being like, this isn't right. This isn't aligned. So just knowing that gives you the freedom of your mind to say, all right, this is just energy. Like, this is my time to just contemplate. This is my time to really hone in on what does it mean to be in the feminine? What does it mean to be in the receptive energy? And work with that. And I think we all could work with that. I personally think I need to as well. So, but when you know what is coming up, when you know what is on the pike, is it the pike or the pipe? I don't know. Then you know how to best use the energies and how to move through the energies. So if also you feel called to join our moon circles, we meet twice a month now on the new and full moon, and we usually meet on the day. So we go through each moon cycle, each lunation. The last one was the full moon in Cancer, and we did breath work and we did an energy clearing, and these are just powerful times, as you know, as you can probably tell, of massive change. And this is the 6th year of numerology, and 6 is the number of Venus, and it's all about our relationships, and it's all about coming together. And at the time of this new moon is the Lunar New Year, the year of the tiger. And the tiger is a very feminine, very powerful, embodied animal. And I hope you tune into Awaken and Align when it comes back. I think February 2nd is what I said, because I am interviewing a Chinese astrologer who is actually Asian. Yes, I had to say it like that because I've been on this long quest. I've been manifesting, I've been throwing it out there, and I finally found the one. And yes, I'm interviewing them in a week, and that episode's gonna go live hopefully in February, and we're gonna talk about the year of the tiger and why it's so significant, especially if you have a tiger animal in your Chinese astrology. But it's important for all of us. Anyway, so I hope that gave you enough clarity of this new moon in Aquarius, of this season, how to work through this time. With new moons, again, it's a powerful time for new intentions, new beginnings. And if you want to go deeper, it's $20 per month for the moon circles. And the moon circles are usually 90 minutes each. And we do divination, we do breath work. they're each different based on the energies. Like for water moons, I like to use water, obviously. And air moons, I like to use some kind of breath work, or it really depends on like what's being called for at the time. So I'm gonna go into the individual rising signs, and as always, I encourage you to watch your rising sign because it will be more accurate in the area of life that this is going to be activated in. And it's because your rising sign changes every 2 hours, your moon sign changes every 2.5 days, and your sun changes once a month. So while you can watch for your sun sign, I encourage that. That's going to give you more ideas about your career or what you do outwardly. The moon is more about like your emotional body and your inner world, but the rising sign will tell you more about what area of your life this is happening in, specifically at 12 degrees of Aquarius. Okay, I will meet you at your rising sign. Check the timestamps below, and I'll see you there. Bye! Hello, Aries rising. Happy new moon in Aquarius. So this new moon is happening in your 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius naturally. The 11th house is all about community. It's all about the greater collective, groups of friends, groups of people. It is also associated with wishes fulfilled and long-term goals and dreams. So if you have been feeling like, you know, some people make New Year's resolutions on January 1st, which I just don't agree with that personally. I think it happens more on the Lunar New Year and kind of Lunar New Year to the Aries ingress on March 20th, which happens to be my birthday. So that's when I make my big wishes. But this is the time, this is the new moon, because this is such a beautiful house to have some kind of new intention. Because it is like such an expanded energy and it's in your house of long-term goals, and maybe some of you are even calling in more friendships, different kind of communities, because as an Aries rising, you are really in this lifetime, you show up as a leader, as somebody who goes on a quest for your own identity. And I think that this new moon in Aquarius, should you want to, would be a beautiful time to call that in. And I wasn't going to do this, but you know, astrology, you can't read it in a vacuum. Like there's other things that are going on that contribute to the bigger picture. And the North Node is in your 2nd house in Taurus, and the South Node is in your 8th house of Scorpio. And the focus for you for the next 18 months is understanding about resources, about money, energy exchange, and really relying on yourself for resources and value and what you believe you are worth and what you believe you can charge people. But really, this is a focus on you, and when you value yourself, when you are worthy within yourself at like a deep, deep, deep soul level, that's when you will call in the people who are meant for you. And the sacred geometry card that I pulled for you is the 2nd chakra, number 2. So 2 might be an important number. I mean, this is, you know, we're heading into February, which is a 2-month. And 2222 is happening just a day after this new moon, which is a very yin, very receptive energy in numerology. And the card says, the energy of the sacral chakra helps us to navigate our lives through our emotions and support our ability to enjoy the sensual world. This is such a creative space. This is basically the womb. This is where we hold our passions and our desires. This is where really like we birth into the physical realm, like what it is that we want, and what we want to manifest comes from our desires. So the question that I asked Spirit was like, what do you need to know for this new moon? And I think really for you to Be honest with your feelings, be honest with your desires and your passions and like what you want out of your life. And Taurus, the North Node being in your second house, is all about pleasure. It's all about finding that pleasure within you and then releasing through the Scorpio house, the 8th house, all those like attachments and karmic things that you don't need going forward. And I just love how it's such a green card. Green is the heart chakra. It's fertility, it's creativity. And I really think that a lot of Aries risings are birthing something that's going to benefit not only yourself but the collective. And you know, all of the cardinal rising signs have had a really hard time with all this Capricorn energy, because Capricorn is in your 10th house, but when you have angular houses in cardinal signs, it affects you because it's in a square relationship. So I'm pretty sure from, you know, even probably before 2022, maybe even 2018 till now, you've been having this push and pull from like yourself, what you want, your identity, with your family, with your career, with relationships. So whatever it is that you want, like, don't hesitate to dream big. Don't hold back. Like, this is not the time to diddly-dally on like your visions. And I say this for everybody, not just Aries rising, but specifically since this is in such a magical area of your life. So now I'm just gonna pull a couple of tarot cards. And I don't have a limit. I was thinking just one, but let's see what comes out. So maybe if you want to do some like sacral chakra meditations, this is ruled by the water element. So doing some kind of like water healing or womb healing, doing something creative will really help you to tap into whatever it is that you're calling in. And please let me know, because I'm very curious. This is like such a magical place for a new moon to be, the 11th house. So what is it that you want Aries risings to know at this time, Spirit? Thank you. Exactly. Ace of emotions. You're getting some kind of offer from Spirit. If you are all calling in a partnership, if you are calling in your divine counterpart, you might want to do some kind of journaling about like your real feelings. Like, how do you really feel? Doing some like tantra and what I'm talking about is beyond sex, beyond the act of sex. It's using your sexual energies to create something, to birth something. Ace of emotions. And then the 5 of Pentacles. So some of you might be really, during this time, in the next 18 months, worried about your finances, or thinking about your material realm with the 5 of Pentacles here. And this is why the North Node is in your second house in Taurus. It's you are transforming that area of your life on a very, very energetic spiritual level, because money is, and I know money is real, I know that, but money is energy when you strip it away from all the feelings and all of these emotions that you attach with it. When you really look at what it is, it's an exchange. It's an exchange for value that you give. Money is exchanged through people when you offer something that you truly love and that you truly believe in, that you desire. So this is an invitation, I really believe, for you to heal your belief in lack, heal your belief in scarcity. And I recommend reading The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. I recommend that for everybody during this time, during the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. But the bottom deck energy for you is 8 of Inspirations, which is the 8 of Wands. And it's like there's growth here. You shoot out all of your arrows. You are patient, you wait. And when you come back, they all come back with some kind of growth. So just, again, focus on your feeling. Focus on your emotions and how you're feeling about things versus what you see with your physical eyes. I hope that helped you. Happy new moon, Aries risings. Bye. Hello, Taurus risings. How are you, beautiful souls? I just wanted to take this time to send you healing because I'm sure it has not been easy with Uranus in your first house, and now we have the North Node in your first house. And before I even pulled out your cards, I was feeling like the more you can strengthen your sense of worthiness, your sense of confidence, and really lean into the highest expressions of Taurus, of Venusian energy, you're going to shine. Like, you are going to thrive in the next 18 months because whenever we have the North Node somewhere, that is increasing energy, and like it becomes like a magnet. Again, not good or bad, it just becomes a magnet. So if you can highlight, work through your shadows always, and highlight more of the evolved expressions of a Taurus, you are going to be magnetic like no other. And I don't say that lightly because obviously I know the responsibility I hold when I do this work, but I just feel that it's been hard for sure on you, but it's been helping you, like what I was saying in the beginning, like just because something's challenging doesn't mean that it's bad. It means that you're breaking down layers of your reprogramming and unwinding things that you've thought about yourself, and almost like shedding of the ego. The dark night of the soul in a spiritual awakening is when your ego starts like unraveling and you're like, everything that I thought about myself is not true, because really we are all spiritual beings. It's just this reality that we've all co-created puts us in these boxes and tells us who we are. And the third chakra, which is the sacral, which is your sense of confidence, number 3. So number 3 is Jupiter's number. It's about expansion, creativity. And I'll read you what the card says. The energy of the solar plexus chakra helps us to realize who we are and who we want to be, so we can set a course towards our goals. So do some breath of fire. I have some of those videos on my Instagram and on my YouTube. Pump that fire in your belly. Taurus is ruled by the throat. Start sharing your experiences with people. And it's interesting because I only wanted one card from this deck, but then 2 cards popped out after, and it's the same fucking card. And I didn't realize that I had 2 of the same card until it came out for your group. And it's both of them are 23, 21, and 21 reduces to a 3. And it's the same card, okay? And I didn't even realize it was the same card. So let me just read what this one says so you can look at this. It says, the energy of freedom supports our sense of limitless possibility and potential, boundless expression, and bold exploration. Okay? And I find that to be interesting because kind of what I was saying in the beginning of this video, this is not the time to be like, I don't know. No, this is not the time to limit what you want. I asked for 1 card and 2 popped out, which is to me saying like, you're asking for too little. You're limiting your mind. And that's like a very Taurus thing. Like, you're a fixed earth sign. So you're very fixated on what you can see. You're very fixated on the material realm. And obviously I'm generalizing here because like you might have like an Aquarian moon, or you might have other energies that help you expand in that way. But I'm just, again, this is a general reading, but most Taurus people who have dominant Taurus energy are more earth-based, and we need that. But what this is asking you is to have the confidence within yourself to speak your truth, to start sharing, and the universe will give you more than you could ever imagine, because giving and receiving are the same. And then this card came out, Thriving, which, like I said, I feel like this is the time, 18 months, Venusian Taurus energy. And notice it's not like Venus energy in Libra, which is more about the mind and aesthetics. This is very earth-based. This is very like embodied. And more people need to get in their body, in their heart space, and out of their minds. So this is something that you can teach us. This is something that, so I have my Chiron in Taurus. This is something that I'm like trying to attract more Tauresian, is that a word? Energy, so that I understand what that energy is like. And again, the more evolved Taurus, because Taurus, the shadow side, can be incredibly stubborn and so fixated on their beliefs that they don't change. So, oh my God. I mean, what? This is Jupiter card, the wheel. Exactly. This is your time. And I know it's difficult because you come to this level of confidence by going through some kind of like ego death, like some limiting believing that my mom says all the time. That some limiting beliefs need to be like checked on. You know, like Taurus rules the throat. This is time to share. It's time to imbue in the collective the beauty that you bring to the world. A lot of Tauruses are really great chefs. They work with food. Oh, they're really good at plants, I noticed. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Sorry, one of them fell. Oh my gosh. The Hermit, knowing who you are. This is Virgo energy. It's like knowing who you are within. And I'm almost getting this feeling like you all know who you are within, so you don't necessarily need to share it. And the Knight of Emotions is like, we need that. You need to start sharing that. You need to start sharing like the magic that could be this like Taurus, the high level Taurus energy of like looking at life in the eyes of like somebody who's ruled by Venus, somebody who's like, everything's so beautiful, you know, looking at the sky, looking at the plants, looking at like fabric and like touching and being sensual. And like now I'm really channeling your energies of like, ooh, good food, good wine, good music, like really enjoying life and it's all of its pleasures. Like we need more of that energy. So if there's anything, any words of advice, I didn't even tell you what house this is in because this is in your 10th house. So not all of you are career-based, I get it, but this is the highest level of your chart. So this new moon in Aquarius, if you feel called at all to share, even if it's with your community around you, the people around you, you don't have to be on social media per se, but the more you share, the more freedom you will feel and the more that the universe is going to give back to you with this Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is like the luckiest card in the deck. It's basically saying this is your time and that whatever you do, whatever you put out there, you will get back tenfold. And I think that's like amazing. And again, I know it's not going to be easy because you have a lot of unraveling of your identity that has to go on when the North Node is in your first house and also Uranus being there. But I really feel like this is your time. This is your time. You know, Like, I don't know what else to say. So happy new moon in Aquarius. Bye. Hello, Gemini risings. So you're probably wondering what happened. Why am I wearing a different outfit? Well, yesterday I filmed Aries and then Taurus, and it was such a nice, well, was it nice? It was cold, and I don't remember exactly if it was sunny, but I needed to move my body. So I went for a long walk, and during the walk I was getting like downloads and intuitive hits for writing. So I just started writing, and I was writing for 5 hours straight. Well, not 5 hours straight. I stopped for dinner and stuff, so I never came back to this. And before I started filming your group, I'm learning Italiano because it's a language that I've always wanted to learn. I think Italian is so beautiful. And if I may just share, I don't know why this is coming up for your group, but I think it makes a lot of sense with your message. In college, I was deciding to study abroad, which was in 2002 to 2003. And I really wanted to go to Italy. I wanted to go to Florence because of the art and because just the language and the food. Very Taurus, very Venusian energy. But my guidance counselor at the time told me that maybe I should go to Spain instead because I could get a minor in Spanish. I already had so many Spanish credits, and Spanish is just like more useful if it's more useful for sure because there's more Spanish speakers, especially if you like travel through South America and Mexico, and if you live in the United States. And it has been super useful, and I'm so grateful. So I went to Spain instead, and that feeling that I've always wanted to learn Italian, and I actually got to visit Italy when I was studying abroad in Spain. I was just like, it's so beautiful here. And because I'm having such a third house activation, which is the opposite sign and house for you. So for you, the Aquarius new moon is happening in your 9th house. I was like, I just want to learn something just for fun, just because I love it and because it's such a beautiful language, and I want to go back to Italy one day in the future, and I want to be able to learn a couple of more sentences besides just like my name is and hello. And I was doing that before I started recording for you, and I was like, wow, this is kind of on par with Gemini's message because the new moon in Aquarius is happening in your 9th house, which the 9th house is a house of mastership, mastery, of learning, but not just learning like the basics of something, not like with beginner's mind, but like let's say that you had been learning Italian for a while. It's like taking it to the next step and like going to an intermediate class. So it's like the opposite of me, because I'm the opposite sign of Gemini, so this is happening in my 3rd house, so I'm learning something new. Whereas for you, you're kind of deciding that this is something that you want to take a level up. You want to learn something with more mastery and more depth. And this could have something to do with travel, since the 9th house is traveling. And because you're traveling, because you're moving about, maybe that you need more information, you need more knowledge and wisdom for what you're about to do. And for Gemini risings, the last 18 months has been all about you and finding yourself and your identity. And because the North Node has been transiting your 1st house, you've been attracting a lot of different energies towards you, which you should be used to because you're a mutable air sign. And that's something that Geminis love. Geminis love novelty and a variety. But it might have been so overwhelming at times because you were having these mirrors brought to you to see and reflect back to you who you are and who you want to be. So thankfully for you, or not thankfully, I don't know, based on how you see this time, the North Node is transiting to your 12th house, which is all about spirituality and finding a deeper purpose. And I really believe for the next 18 months, this is about like another level up to your spiritual growth, your self-understanding of how you fit within the greater collective, because it is Aquarius energy. It's being humanitarian and being somebody who speaks on behalf of a group that might not be given a voice. And Geminis are just like, I'm naturally attracted to Geminis because Geminis are so infectious energy. They really do have this curious mind. You are ruled by Mercury and you just want to like learn everything, but the downside of that is there's no depth. Geminis tend to want to go on the surface level, like, and have like more quantity of friends versus like real deep friendships. And obviously I'm generalizing because this is just your rising sign. Like, I'm sure you have other aspects going on that will tell a deeper story, but generally Geminis are very surface level. They just want to like get little tidbits here and there, but going deep and having intimacy is something that I notice, especially Gemini moons have a hard time with. And so, yeah, this is your 9th house. This is a beautiful place to like really commit to some deep learning. But I feel it's going to be a very spiritual 18 months for you because the North Node is in your 12th house, and you're going to possibly have more embodied spiritual metaphysical experiences. So the first card I got for you is number 6, which is the 6th chakra, which is your third eye. The energy of the third eye chakra supports our inner insight and intuitive abilities. So Gemini is very left brain logical, right? Like, you're ruled by Mercury, which rules the mind. And I think this is an invitation for you to open up your third eye and sense things at a very intuitive, psychic, sixth sense, spidey level. And Geminis you might be already on that path because you've had to rely on your instincts over your intellect when you were really examining yourself, and also the South Node being in Sagittarius in your 7th house of like who it is and what kind of energies you want to surround yourself with. The next card I got for you is Patience. This is not a card that many people like to see, especially mutable air signs, but I feel like, you know, the nodes just shifted like on January 18th. So it's going to take some time to get yourself back together. This is integration time for a lot of people. As I mentioned in the beginning, this isn't a time to like launch things. This isn't a time to like get after it. This isn't a young season. This is a season to hold in energy, to conserve energy, so that when it is Aries season, the fire, which is in your 11th house, that's the time when you launch. That's the time when you get out there. But for now, and I'm sure a lot of Gemini risings, you know, you've lost the component of socializing depending on where you live. You've lost the component of a lot of the things that make mutable air signs like thrive, right? And I'm sure you're like, when is it going to get back to normal? And I think that it's really asking you to rethink your relationship to time, and also like, why are you in such a hurry? And I'm gonna reflect that back to me too, because I feel like, again, we all need that lesson with patience, especially when it's like, not only is it like we're still kind of in a pandemic, and I say kind of because when you look on social media, people are living in different timelines. It's winter here in the Northeast, and I'm sorry, I have my heater on because it's 9 degrees here right now and it's cold in my room. So there's not much that we can do except for conserving our energies, being in the yin, you know, taking the time to really ask ourselves what we want for this new moon in Aquarius. So I'm going to pull out some tarot cards and see what else comes through, but I really feel like this time is for you to really hone in on your, yeah, because Uranus is there too. Like, you're going to have like pretty awakening dreams, pretty amazing insights. And I think this is a time for you to prepare when Jupiter, well, Jupiter right now is in Pisces in your 10th house, to, again, do something for the greater collective. Because, and as I was saying in the beginning, and this might require you to study more, this might require you to have more mastership over something. Oh, great. Okay, so for the first card, I love this because, and you're gonna like it too. Oops. So for the first card, I got the Magician here. The Magician is ruled by Mercury. You have everything you need at this time. And, you know, it's that saying in manifestation, you can't look outside of yourself. You have to look within. And people would always say to me, manifestation coaches and, you know, law of attraction, everything's within you. And I never understood what that meant until recently. It is like when you have a deep knowing of who you are and your purpose, you have a deep understanding and trust with spirit, anything is possible. Like, you don't need to look outside of yourself for what it is that you want, because it's all the answers are within you. And what was I saying about the psychic abilities? We have the Queen of Emotions, which in this deck is the Cups. So we have the Magician and the Queen of Emotions. You're getting more understanding on a deeper psychic level, trusting your intuition about what it is that you're creating, what it is that you're manifesting. And it's beyond just you now. It's not what you want, but it's what you have learned through these last 18 months, if not your whole life. But more so, you're integrating what you've learned about in the last 18 months so that you can create something, 10th house and Pisces, Jupiter being there, for the greater collective. This is so beautiful. This is like knowing at an energetic, emotional level what it is that you are called to, who you are, and manifesting from that place. Wow, your reading was the longest so far because I felt like, you know, all my Gemini risings out there just needed that extra boost. Don't give up. You got this. Happy new moon. Bye. Hi, Cancer rising. Happy new moon in Aquarius. This new moon is happening in your 8th house of intimacy, other people's resources, and intimacy. Did I say intimacy? Because that is a very important theme for you. It's not lost on me that all of the energies have been focused on your 7th house in Capricorn, which is about partnerships, about one-on-one relationships. And I'm sure a lot of your relationships have been being transformed, have been put up for review, reflection, because we have Venus retrograde there, we have Pluto. Last year we had Saturn and Jupiter, and so like there has been in the last couple years this focus on your relationships, and then with all of the planets moving into your 8th house, it's all about intimacy and sharing energy with other people. I said this to, I think, Aries rising. All of the cardinal signs, the rising signs, have been hit pretty hard with these Capricorn energies because, you know, your opposite sign is Capricorn, and then Libra and Aries are all the angular houses. So I'm not saying that it's coming to a close, because I think after Pluto leaves, I think in 2024 is when Pluto leaves to Aquarius, But I can say that whatever Pluto is doing right now, it's finishing up its lesson, and now the rebirth and transformation is happening. And I think that for you specifically, it's been all about your boundaries and also all about protecting yourself. And I say that too because this came out, protection. And Cancers are, so I have 2 Cancers in my moon cycle. Yes, 2 Cancers in my moon cycle. 2 Cancer suns in my moon circle. And I've actually asked them about Cancer energy. And you just had a full moon. My North Node is in Cancer. So it's an energy that I'm trying to increase, that I'm trying to reach, that I can't seem to get there, but it's becoming more and more tangible to me just because of my own self-growth. But the thing with Cancer is that you feel so deeply on an emotional level, which is your strength, right? Because it allows you to have empathy and for you to have very intimate relationships with other people. But on the downside, if you don't protect your energy, if you don't set up boundaries, you're gonna like lose all of your energy and you're not gonna be able to have anything left for yourself. So I know that much with Cancers, specifically Cancer risings, like this is all about your identity and how you take care of yourself. So with this new moon in Aquarius, I think you're going to be playing with this energy of like this like play, this balance of how much energy do I give to somebody else versus what do I keep for myself. And protecting your energy is going to be very important because you're a cardinal water sign. So you are afflicted, is that the right word? Affected by the moon cycles, and the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So when you feel around you like a shift in energy, it affects you. So make sure that you're doing some kind of protection, make sure you're doing some kind of clearing, because again, like it's a great strength and a gift, but it can also make you feel like, what is mine? What is theirs? The sacred geometry card I got for you is Joy, number 28, which reduces to a 10. And the card says, the energy of joy activates our feelings of happiness and well-being and supports a high vibrational frequency in our being. And I know a lot of Cancers, people who have a lot of Cancer energy, often when they're so affected by their environment that they often like, they're sponges. So when people around them are sad, they're sad. When people around them are happy, they're happy. So try to distinguish between what is your energy and what is somebody else's energy. And I don't know if many of you know this, but I'm writing a book right now. And one of the key things that I talk about in this book is about wholeness and how wholeness is everything. Wholeness is the state that we should always try to strive for. And when you know when you're whole is when you live with joy, when you're fully present in the moment, when you're fully present with what is. And that doesn't diminish the fact that there's shit, right? Like that you go through real stuff, and doesn't diminish other people's suffering. But at the same time, you can live in the present moment, accepting what is, but also wanting something different for yourself. And that living in joy for me means like appreciating everything that you have, noticing what needs to be changed, but also being optimistic for the future. And joy also is just like what we need to be well, to be whole, and to feel like life is worth living. So I'm just gonna pull a couple of tarot cards right now, just to get any more messages. And I try to just keep it to the new moon energy. Like this is happening in your 8th house, which is a transformational house. It's a house where it's like so psychological that it's hard for me to even explain. And I should be able to by now because I have my North Node there. But it's just understanding that you don't have to do life on your own, especially with Aquarius energy there. So however you wanna, maybe you wanna set an intention for more intimacy with your partner, or more intimate relationships with friends, because Aquarius rules friends as well. That's kind of how I would use this energy. Okay, what do you want Cancer risings to know? And you just had a full moon in your first house, so I'm sure it brought up to the surface a lot of things for you, a lot about your identity, a lot about how you show up in relation to the other. What do you want Cancer risings to know? What do you want Cancer risings to know? I also notice how long it takes for the cards to come out, and yours is taking quite, oh, okay, there we go. Yes, exactly. Emperor. This is Aries energy. It's being confident. It's being the like leader of your own life. It's having the confidence to tell people, this is what I need, this is what makes me feel safe, this is what gives me joy, and owning that. And it's a number 4, so it's all about stability, and Cancer rules the 4th house, which is safety, security, nurturing. Cancer energy is like the mom energy, very protective. And here we have the 6 of emotions. Protecting your inner child. You see here, I love this depiction of the 6 of emotions in this deck, which is the Muse Tarot. She's holding this mirror, and that's her as a child. And I think protecting, so the Emperor can also be a father figure, somebody who's older than you. It could be a person, literally, or it could just be you. I really feel like it's more you, like you having an inner authority to protect your inner child. The 6 of emotions is a 6 of cups, and it talks about nostalgia. It talks about looking back at the past. And you might have had to do that with Capricorn, all the Capricorn energies in your 7th house, with Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Pluto there. It's like having to look back at all of your relationships and like how you showed up, how they showed up, and protecting yourself and being your own advocate, really. This is what this tells me. But remember, Cancer risings, like out of everything, I just want you to know, like, there is a sense of protecting your energy, but please remember to also have joy, because that's like innately the biggest message that I'm getting for every group, every sign, is these are really and I'm trying to understand if it's just because I've become more aware of myself and my environment and the world, or if it's just a natural progression of when you wake up, you just are more sensitive to people and what everyone's going through, or if it's always been like this. But I feel deeply that the more I evolve in my own self-growth, I realize that this is such a big time for change. This is such an important time for change, both at individual levels and at the collective level. And the more we can, because Cancer is like the mother archetype, right? And like traditionally in the past, we've always seen Capricorn as like the father energy, even though I really think it's more of the crone energy. Capricorn's a yin. And I think that the Cancer Capricorn axis is all about having a sense of safety and security within ourselves. It's nurturing ourselves. It's protecting ourselves. Not because the world is out to get us, because we love ourselves and we want to cultivate this joy within us. And I think that's what we're all learning individually right now. We're all learning what that means, because we're not blaming our parents. We're not blaming you know, what has happened in the past, but also we need to take responsibility for our lives. So I hope that helped, and happy new moon in Aquarius. Bye! So I had to start talking because I was already channeling your energies. So I'm gonna talk while I shuffle for Leo risings. So I believe, or I feel really deeply, that Leos are gonna be very, very, very focused on their career, but at the same time want a long-term partnership. And those two have been in a tense aspect to each other all of 2021. It's like, I want this long-term partnership. Commitment. Yeah, because Saturn's there. Saturn's in connection at the bottom of the deck. So this is 14 and this is 13. So I'm going to read them, but I'm going to keep shuffling. This hasn't happened for any other group so far, and I'm only at Leo, so at the 5th sign, but it just started coming in as I was looking at your chart. I was like, oh my god. Okay, so since 2021, Uranus in Taurus in your 10th, with Saturn in Aquarius your 7th, you've been, and Leos are very ambitious people. They want to bring out what it is that, because you're ruled by the sun, right? So you want to, regardless if you're if you're expressing the shadow aspects or the light aspects of Leos, most Leos I know, and most Leos that I observe out, because, right, like for Americans, our celebrities are our mythologies, and I guess like what most Americans like obsess over. I don't know, it's a weird thing, but they want to be seen because they are so powered by what is inside them. It's like they need to share it. They need to like bring out into the world what it is that drives their heart and soul. Again, whether it's in the shadow aspect where it's more of narcissist and ego driven, or if it's truly based on the heart space. But I feel most Leos, since all of that activation with Jupiter there and Saturn there, I feel very deeply that Leos want a long-term commitment. And with that, they've had to realize what it means to be on a quest for intimacy that is more than just surface level, because Jupiter in Pisces is now in your 8th house. And when Jupiter was in Aquarius in your 7th house, it was like offering its benefic energies to Saturn. It was kind of like taking away some of the coldness of Saturn, of like the seriousness of Saturn. And when Jupiter left, it's like Saturn is there by itself. So Saturn in Aquarius by itself in your 7th house is like, is this for real? Is this something that can be a long-term commitment? And I think since Jupiter went into Pisces in December, that's been the question. Like, without Jupiter there, it's no longer, oh, but they're giving me this, and you know, like, I like them, they're super fun, or, you know, those kinds of like rose-colored glasses feelings, and it's 111 as I'm saying this. And with Saturn there all by itself, Saturn's like, I don't know. So this new moon, it might be a great time to really set intentions for, if you really want this long-term commitment and this connection, there's going to be some work on your part that needs to be put in there. I mean, with everything in life, right? As within, so without. So it's not like your partner is going to magically appear, right? You have to do the work within yourself to attract that to you. And later in February, I think it's February 16th, we have a full moon in Leo in your 1st house. So you're gonna see, like, if you plant the seeds on this new moon in Aquarius, you're gonna see maybe not a person, but you're gonna see like what is it gonna take within you to make this happen for yourself. Because again, the North Node being in Taurus in your 10th house, like you are going to be on a quest for your career. You're gonna be busier with the North Node in your 10th house. And so you have to ask yourself, like, if you want a long-term relationship, you're going to have to, like, balance that out with more of, because I just noticed that the 4th house is in Scorpio where the South Node is. So, like, you're releasing a lot of things, maybe a lot of karmic attachments, illumination. Yeah, something is going to be illuminated to you, I think, by February 16th. About like what it is that needs to happen. You know, the new moon is a dark moon, so you set your intention and there's not much you can do because it's a new moon, right? But as the moon phase, as the moon starts growing, as it's going in through its waxing phase, you start, you know, actually taking action, you start seeing things. So I think that this is so crazy. Okay, so you saw me shuffle too. So this is number 13. The frequency of commitment supports our ability to devote ourselves in all aspects of our being and with unwavering belief. And I really believe that when you have a soul partnership, like a partnership, and like Saturn's there, and people think of Saturn as this like annoying like planet, but you need Saturn in synastry. Because if it was just Venus there or like Mars, for example, that's like quick attraction, quick passion, but you need an aspect to Saturn to let you know that it's going to be long term and that it's worth the commitment. So I think this is actually a great sign for you if you want a soul partnership with Saturn being there. And just look at where you have your own natal aspects to this. Like, if you have your moon, your sun, your Venus, well, any of the planets aspected to this new moon, because if you're a Leo rising and your descendant is around 12 degrees, this could be very impactful for you. This is exciting. And I feel like when you find a true soul partnership, somebody who supports you, you will have a beautiful home life. You will have a beautiful career because this person isn't going to like be like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. Oh my God. This person isn't going to be like, what the fuck? Like, why aren't you paying attention to me? This person's going to support you in your dream. And look, I've never been so excited for a reading. Like, 10 of Pentacles. You are building a legacy. You're building a family, something for the long term. Again, you have commitment here. And at the bottom of the deck, connection. This is like this is 10th house energy. This is like family tree. I'm making enough for me and my future generations. We're all here working together. This is like a solid like thing for the long term. To me, this feels very 10th house, like Capricorn energy, even though this is a Virgo card. And yeah, you have Capricorn in your 6th house. So like your daily habits and your daily rituals is supporting you in making this happen. And then you have the Ace of Voices. And I love this card in this deck, the Muse Tarot. It's become one of my favorite decks because she has this like ray of light coming out of her head and the owl. And the owl to me is an animal of wisdom. And this light coming out of her head is this all of a sudden this like illumination, this like epiphany, like, oh my God. This, and I don't know who this message is for, but this is just coming to me. Like, this is the person that I've been waiting for this whole time. And for some of you, this person has been like just always around you. And all of a sudden you're looking at them with like a different lens. Or some of you have been waiting for a really long time. I mean, Saturn's been there, and all of a sudden you're gonna like, you're like, this is it, this is my person. And if some of you are going through a breakup, please trust that if it's meant for you, it will come back to you. That's what I always say. That's the last thing I told my ex-boyfriend. We haven't come back together, which just means that we were meant to be together. Oh my God, I've never been so excited. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, Leo. And I don't really attribute this energy to Leos. Not that I don't think Leos want commitment, but you want commitment. You want a long-term commitment. So beautiful. Oh, I love this. I love this for you. Happy new moon in Aquarius. Bye. Hello, Virgo risings. So for you, this new moon in Aquarius is happening in your 6th house, which is naturally a Virgo house. So this is an energy that you should be very, very comfortable with. The 6th house is all about your habits, your daily rituals that support your life, and it's to be of service. It's really like how we experience life in the mundane, and this new moon in Aquarius, I just had like a brain fart right there. This new moon in Aquarius is asking you to set new intentions for how you want to shift or how you want to do something new, because Aquarius is thinking outside the box. Aquarius thinks about the future to help you to support your life in every way possible. Now, the North Node moved from your 10th house, which, you know, the last 18 months you've been more focused on your career. And now the North Node in Taurus is moving into your 9th house, which is all about mastership. So whatever lessons you've learned on an intellectual level through your belief systems for the last 18 months, now you're going to solidify into, maybe you want to take a course, or maybe you want to travel, or maybe you want to, but it's going to be something that's tangible because it's Taurus, and it's something that you're really like laying down the foundation in a very tangible, earthbound way. So just think about where you want to be. Like, think about what you're trying to manifest, where you want like your life to go, and think about all of the habits, all of the things you can do now in your physical reality that will help you to get there, that will help set you up to make those goals happen for yourself. So let's see, what do you have to say? Ooh, shoot. Oh boy, okay. Let me see if anything else came out, okay. So you got 2 cards. And the first one is, I've never seen this card from this deck. This is the sacred geometry of relationships oracle, and I wanted to use this because I felt like relationships was going to be a very big theme, and I think it is for all of us, because, and I'm pretty sure I said this in the intro, because Venus has been in retrograde in Capricorn, and we're all kind of going through this like reckoning of who we want to spend time with, who we want to spend our energies with. And you got the number 20, forgiveness, and then you got 43 with transparency. Jupiter just moved into your 7th house of partnership, so clearly you're seeing something from a very high level Jupiterian way of like the kinds of feelings, the kinds of things you want in your partnerships. What does this have anything to do with the new moon in Aquarius? I think how you're being supported is by the people around you. Now, the 6th house usually talks about coworkers and people that you work with, but most of us, at least if you work from home, our coworkers are the people that we live with, our significant others, our family. And I think it's a time for Virgo risings to, first of all, be very, very clear on your feelings. There's a Brene Brown quote that I loved. Clear is kind, unclear is unkind. You have to be transparent and honest about how you feel in certain situations. The energy of transparency supports our expansion toward a higher vibrational state of being with more insight, honesty, and clarity. Exactly. And then forgiveness. The energy of forgiveness strengthens our capacity to let go of unwanted feelings and emotions. Again, what I was saying and what I'm feeling is to really be like, you're a Virgo rising, you're ruled by Mercury, so and you have an attention to detail. You need to hone in on the people around you, the energies around you, your work habits, your eating habits, your sleep habits even, your rituals, to see like what it is that, and being honest with yourself, that what is supporting you and what is not supporting you. Oh my God, you keep getting 2 cards. Oh my God, patience and courage. The courage to speak up, the courage to be honest, and the patience. I feel like Virgos are pretty patient though, but this came out for another group too. So clearly patience is, oh, I love how these colors are very similar. Clearly patience is an energy that we all are cultivating right now because we're in Aquarius season, which is a fixed air sign, and it's in the middle of winter here in the Northeast, and it's not a time to like it's not a time to launch. And I think a lot of people, especially if you've been at home or if you've been quarantining, see, that was spirit either confirming or trying to get rid of energy that does not serve you. Maybe you need to clear your house, clear away the clutter, do some energy clearing. I think that will really help you. There's some like, I'm feeling some stagnant energy, and maybe all it's gonna take is you to have the courage to tell somebody how you really feel. Like be very transparent. So we're just gonna ask for additional cards for this new moon in Aquarius. And Mercury is going retrograde right now in your 5th house of creativity, and whatever Mercury does affects you because you're ruled by Mercury. Oh, we have the 2 of Cups. Yeah, this is about being honest with somebody in your life. It doesn't have to be a partner. Although for most of you it might be, because that's just the feeling that I'm getting. And the 2 of Cups is all about sharing energies with somebody. I feel like also you've been holding this in for a while. This might just be for some of you. And yeah. Okay, so I think whatever it is that you want, 9 of Cups, is on the other side of you being completely 100% clear. Now, for some of you, like I was saying, this might mean that you have to just be honest with somebody. Like if you want X, Y, and Z, and you're afraid to talk to your partner about it, or you're afraid to talk to your friend about it, this is saying like, you just need to say it, because they're not mind readers. They can't, you can't get anything if you're not clear about it. And then for some of you, if you're manifesting something with this 9 of emotions, what you're being asked to do is to be clear with the universe, because I think your energies are being split here. You're saying one thing, but you don't believe it, or you're doing one thing, but like you're being out of alignment here. So like if you're manifesting a partner, for example, and you're saying, I want a partner, but then your actions and your behaviors don't match that, this is like saying you need to get in alignment, Two of Cups with Spirit, co-create with Spirit. And also Four of Pentacles. It's like having a solid foundation within yourself, having the courage to ask for what you want and know your worth, most of all. This is a Capricorn card, so it's all about steady building for the future. This was really deep for Virgo rising, which I was not expecting, and I think there's a couple of Virgos watching this, so that's why the messages were like all over the place. But overall, I think you need to hone in on being ruled by Mercury and your very detail-oriented mind. Like, get very clear and concise about what it is that you want and communicate it with somebody else. And I think you have to do a lot of letting go and a lot of not dwelling on the past about things. So I hope that made sense. I don't know where all of that came from, but I give you so many blessings and courage for this new moon in Aquarius. Bye. Hi Libra risings. This new moon is happening in your 5th house, and what a fun place to have Aquarius and a new moon. The 5th house is all about joy, playfulness, your inner child, entertainment, creativity, passions, desire. It's traditionally ruled by Leo, but it could also be a house of gambling, of like going to Vegas and spending all your money on playing blackjack or something like that. So the new moon being here, I feel like if you have been manifesting a baby or manifesting a child, this is a great new moon to like plant those seeds. If you are thinking about launching your own, because the 5th house is also, I think, your own business. If you're thinking about launching a website or social media, like this is a great new moon to do that on. And I think because of all of the retrogrades and your Capricorn, the Capricorn cluster that has been in your 4th house of roots and family, this Capricorn story is starting to be transformed. It's been there for a while now, and I think, you know, Pluto being in the last degrees of Capricorn, it's finishing out that story. So whatever story you began with back in 2008 to now, it's completely different, and you probably feel that way. And the more you feel the foundational roots, specifically with Capricorn, because Capricorn is our earth sign, the more you'll be able to feel free to, you know, create your own thing, something that's different. And I said this to Aries and Cancer risings, and I'm going to say it to all the cardinal rising signs, that it's been difficult because Capricorn is squared to your ascendant, and we've had Pluto there, we've had Saturn there, Jupiter there, now we have a Venus retrograde, we have Mercury going retrograde there, now we have Mars there. So clearly Capricorn is a huge area of our life that has been a focus. So Libra risings have been dealing with their sense of home and sense of security, and like, what does that mean? And maybe you've all felt, maybe some of you have felt uprooted and like you didn't have home. But that was only a reflection of reminding you that your home is within you. And I know that because I've been nomadic for 5 years now, since 2017. And the last 2 of them, I've been in my childhood home, which I'm so grateful for, but it's technically not my home. So I've had to think about, like, what does home mean? Is it something that I pay rent for? Is it something where I'm with my family? Is it something that is actually like a house, or is it something within me? And if you haven't watched Encanto by Disney, you should watch that movie, because it talks about this idea of like a home, a house, a physical house representing foundations, ancestry, roots, and family. And I think you'd really gain a lot of understanding from that movie, and it's just such a good movie. But Wow, yeah, I went on a huge Capricorn tangent. I didn't mean to, but I really feel like, and now I'm talking really fast, which I guess happens when you're channeling a cardinal air sign. And you know, the North Node is in your 8th house of intimacy, and the South Node is in your 2nd house of your resources. So you're really like redefining what it means to have your own resources, shared energy, money, value. Yeah, that's like a huge, that's like not sugarcoating it at all. Like that's huge. And that's for the next 18 months for you. And you have abundance. Oh, it's gonna be okay, Libra risings. It's gonna be okay. The energy of abundance activates our ability to manifest the wealth we need and the sense of fulfillment that comes from a heart and soul that are overflowing with love and gratitude. Number 8, and number 8 is the number of power. And number 8 is the 8th house, which you are focusing on, your own power within. And if I could give you any kind of advice, because I've had, well, I naturally have the South Node in my 2nd house in Capricorn, and may I say it's been a doozy of a understanding of what wealth and money and value truly means, because there was a couple years between there where I didn't have much money, actually, to be honest with you. And when my bank account started depleting, I was like, oh my God, I'm worth nothing. I have no net worth. I'm like, what does that mean? And what that process showed me, though, is that really money is an illusion. It's made up by humans, by man. And that everything that's tangible, it's tangible because we live in a physical realm and we experience life through the physical. But really what makes us of value has nothing to do with how much we work, how much we put out there. We are just worthy of being here because we are being here, and that's it. And that took a long time for me to understand, because I grew up American, I grew up in New York, and I grew up with immigrant parents, and I was conditioned to believe that your worth was attached to how much money you make, how much that you do, right, Capricorn, and that's not it at all. And I feel like you kind of inherently know that because your 2nd house is in Scorpio, which is like inherently, it has nothing to do with money at all. It's just energy exchange. And when you can cultivate value within yourself, the value you create in yourself is the value you give to the world. And money is just an exchange. It's an energetic tool for exchanging value. So you do something, you give value in the form of services and goods, and you get money in exchange for that. So people often think that they want to manifest money. Money is just a form of exchange for the value that you give. How do you give value? You have to give it to yourself first. You have to know that you are value. You have to know that you are worthy of it too. And I'm sorry I'm going down this whole tangent, but like when this came out, my heart just like, I just feel for you, because I have the South Node natally in my 2nd house, and this has nothing to do with 5th house in Aquarius, but it does, because when you feel safe and when you feel worthy, you have the capacity to create your life. You have the capacity to manifest things. So I think that if there's one piece of advice I could give you for the next 18 months is like, really try to understand the energetics of money and value. And I've been recommending this book to everybody during this time, which is The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. It's such a good book to read for the Taurus Scorpio axes, especially if they're going through your 2nd and 8th house. But just comment down below if this resonates with you, because I feel that like deeply. So we have courage here, and flexibility. And I noticed there's a little tiger here, and we are going into the year of the tiger. And the tiger is an animal about empowerment, of feminine energy. And this card in particular talks about the bamboo and how the bamboo is flexible enough where it can like sway through the wind, but the roots are really deep. And so no matter what you go through, no matter what shitstorm comes upon you, you can handle anything. And it only makes you stronger. What is that Kelly Clarkson song? What again, it makes you stronger, stand a little taller. Da, 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 da. You know that song, right? I hope so. But you have abundance here. When you come out of this transit, you're gonna be a different person, I promise you. Okay, so yeah, we have the 2 of voices and the 9 of voices, which to me indicates that you're obviously worried about this. Maybe you have some anxiety, maybe, and I feel this more in your Capricorn house, but like with the South Node being in your 2nd house and all of the Capricorn houses going through your 4th house, those are like deeply psychologically foundational places. And when your foundations are rocked, you can't see the abundance around you, right? Like, because your mind is being clouded by fear, so you can't be receptive and open to all the abundance and opportunities around you. And the 9 of voices talks about like anxiety and fear and maybe not being able to sleep. And there's nothing you can like necessarily do about it, because it is a transit where you have to lean into that. You have to like almost move towards your fear. You can't bypass it. It's there for a reason. But you have abundance here on the table. You have courage and flexibility. And I feel like when you move towards it and you realize that these illusions, which are still real, I don't want to diminish their impact, but when you realize that your worthiness and your foundations were in the beginning made on a house of cards, they weren't actually foundational, is when you start having the tower moment, and you it's like a death of the ego, right? Like everything that you've attached your worth and security to starts falling apart, and you cultivate that within yourself. And I can tell you that going through a nodal return, going through the South Node in my 1st house, and having all of my foundations taken away, you are going to come out of this transit into such a strong, fucking badass, beautiful soul, and you're going to experience more abundance. And if you're not already, like, you will experience abundance at a level that you've never imagined before. So I'm sending you so much love, Libra risings. You are with me. I love you. Don't forget that abundance is all around you. I love you so much. Bye. Hello, all you beautiful Scorpios, Scorpio risings. I hope you can see me. I hope there's enough light. It got dark out. And this has been such an interesting journey on doing these readings, because usually I like to do all of them in one day, like straight through, but because of the energies and the changing energies, I've had to take breaks. I've had to ground my energy. I've had to take long walks outside. And so from yesterday, when I was filming this, I took a break after Taurus, and then this afternoon I did Gemini until Libra, and then I went for a long walk outside, which it's like 24 degrees here in New York in the Northeast, and I know people in Canada and Chicago and the Midwest are like, that's nothing, but for us it's really cold. And then now it's dark out, and I have been wearing different outfits, so I definitely feel like this is pretty much the energies that I'm picking up with each rising sign. Is there's so much change happening, or has the potential to change, and I don't think that you are the exception, Scorpio rising, obviously with the South Node coming into your first house and Aquarius being your fourth house of roots, family, and I know a lot of Scorpio risings that moved or improved on their homes last year. So this new moon in Aquarius, you know, wherever, like this is for all the signs. Aquarius has been a very big focal point because we had the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction on December 21st, 2020, and I've been talking about that now for a year. And then we had I believe a new moon, excuse me, a new or full moon, no, it would have been a full moon back in Leo season, which was at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So clearly this area of our lives are being highlighted. And for you being in the fourth house is a very sensitive area of our chart. It's where we feel nurtured, it's where we feel safe and secure, it's our home, it's our ancestry, it's our roots, and you've been thinking about that. You've been thinking about your relationship to your ancestry, your roots, and that's really important because how we feel safe and how we feel rooted really anchors the entire chart. I mean, obviously, this is an angular house, like similar to your first and seventh house, and Leo being your 10th house. So the fixed signs, the fixed rising signs are definitely getting their turn in terms of big shifts in life. And I really feel that for Scorpio rising specifically, this is a great time to connect to yourself in a way that you've never have before. And it's going to be a very cathartic journey into peeling back the layers of the illusion or the Maya or the matrix, if you will, whatever name you want to call it, and to really find who you are at a very foundational level. And it's going to be such a beautiful thing. The first card we have for you is originality. And I mean, this is like pretty much what I've been saying up until now. This reduces to the number 4, it's 31. And this says the frequency of originality supports our capacity to be unique and original creators of unlimited possibilities in every moment. And I would say that my own experience with the South Node transiting my first house the last 18 months is feeling completely authentic to myself. And Aquarius is the sign of being 100% radically yourself, radically authentic, and knowing that at such a soul level is such a gift. And I honestly am so, like, it's gonna make me really emotional because when you're going through it, and I'm not saying like this whole 2 years was so heavy. It wasn't. It was like seeing the most beautiful parts of life and the potentiality of the human spirit to endure against adversity, both witnessing it in myself and then the collective. It's such a spiritual experience. I'm clearly not articulating effectively like the experience of it, but what you're gonna get out of it though is this originality. And I think this new moon in Aquarius, if you can really ground down, really center yourself and set new intentions for this new moon. And there was something that I wanted to say, but it's leaving my head. Oh my God, it's gonna come back. This is what's been happening with me with Mercury in Aquarius, Mercury retrograde, that is. Okay, what else do you want Scorpio risings to know? I wanted to say something about Venus. which is something that I didn't tell any of the other groups, not because I forgot, but there was like a lot of other stuff going on. Venus is in Capricorn, and at the time of this new moon on January 29th, so it's like 2 days before the new moon, Venus will go direct, and it will have a harmonious aspect to Uranus, and Uranus is in your 7th house of partnerships, and the North Node is there. So you're going to have a lot more focus on your partnership sector and the different kinds of energies coming your way to help you and to really evaluate, because our partnership house, the 7th house, is our mirror. It's like what we need to focus within. Exactly. We have enlightenment here. This was kind of the word I was looking for with the South Node in the 1st house. It's like, obviously we're 3D, we're mind, body, and soul, but we are also spirit, we're also the divine, and sometimes it's hard to see that when we live in such a material realm. But being a Scorpio rising and being both ruled by Mars and Pluto, I feel like you're really good at tapping into the depths. You're really good at least the more evolved Scorpios, the ones that are willing to go deep, can see past the illusion. And honestly, I feel like for you, you're going to unravel supernatural gifts. If not, like, I'm like, Scorpios already have that. Like, you're already, to me, like the mystical witches of the group, and like you're already magic incarnate. So it's like, how much more can you be? So if you're watching this and you're like, this is not me at all, then this is like your confirmation that it's going to happen. And then if you are already experiencing that, then you are even more, especially with like Aquarian energy in your 4th house. To me, this seems like you're already tapping into some like extraterrestrial, or some kind of like, you're tapping into a different dimension that maybe you don't even have the words for, but you do. So let's see if the tarot has anything else to say. And yeah, Jupiter being in your 5th house, it's like the more you can tap into that like 5D and bring it down into the 3D through your dreams, you're going to be able to have a lot of creative inspiration. Jupiter and Pisces in the 5th house is like incredibly fortunate. Like you can really create some amazing shit. Queen of Materials, in this deck, it's the Queen of Pentacles. This is you fully embodying who you are in the physical realm. And your opposite sign is Taurus. So clearly you don't want to be too Scorpio, you don't want to be too Taurus, because you're trying to integrate both. And so you want to be able to release the karmic attachments of whatever it is that the South Node is asking you to release, and increase more of the Taurus, the embodiment work. Maybe you are going to be called to do more embodiment work, like being in your body, doing more movement practices, watching what you eat, watching your health. But you want to be somewhere in the middle where you can integrate both. And the Queen of Materials is like a fertile, creative queen who knows her worth, him. This is just the feminine energy, the feminine principle of like knowing your worth, knowing what to ask for, and also like, but it being in like a real material realm kind of way. This isn't just an idea. This isn't just a thought. This isn't just like a vision. This isn't just feelings. This is like real. It's like Taurus energy here. So as I said in the beginning, your angular houses are being activated. So it's like yourself, your partnerships, your home, your career. What is it that you want to create? What is it that you're trying to manifesting? And set your intentions for that in a very deep-rooted way, and try to find, you know, we always say releasing with the South Node, but it's more about the spiritual understanding. It's like, yes, we release things because whatever's not in alignment needs to go, and we live in a natural world with universal laws that always tries to go back to homeostasis. So if you watched the beginning of this, I said, like, just because something's challenging doesn't mean that it's bad. It's meant for us. We can't get to the places that we want to go if we're holding on so tightly. So no other oh, there we go. The Lovers. Like I said, the North Node is in your 7th house, which is all about partnerships. And this doesn't have to be romantic. I'm actually feeling like this is partnerships, relationships on all levels. This is like a massive life change for you. I don't even think that I'm like fully, I think I've been prepping you, Scorpio risings, for like a couple months now about like the magnitude of the changes that you're about to face. In a good way, I believe, because obviously I'm your optimistic friend, because I don't believe that you would be even watching this or you would be interested in astrology if you weren't trying to change your life in some way that's more in alignment. I don't think you understand the magnitude of how much more amazing your life is going to be if you are able to surrender to what's coming and to what the universe and spirit and the divine is asking of you. Like, if you are calling in like a beautiful home or your dream home or anything like that, this is not the time to limit your dreams. If you are calling on a divine partnership, somebody who is really matching your energy, please, like, put those thoughts and put those energies out there. If you are dreaming about, like, you know, improving yourself or your career, like, this is the time, because again, like, there is massive change going on at all levels for you, Scorpio rising. So I really hope you take this next 18 months to really, really understand who you are at a spiritual soul level and do the work that's necessary to get you there. But anyway, I hope you have a beautiful new moon. Bye! Hello, my fellow Sag risings. I didn't even need to look at your chart because I have the same chart. So the new moon in Aquarius is happening in our 3rd house of learning, of travel, well, short distance travel, our community, our inner circle, our siblings, social media, the mind. And this is a house that I personally believe, well, it's a house that's traditionally ruled by Gemini, but I believe that it's actually a place where Aquarius likes to be, because Aquarius likes to expand through the mind. And I think that if you are interested in sharing your ideas, sharing your truth in a bigger way, like, this is the time to set those intentions. And also, you know, I can speak from my own personal experience and knowing some Sagittarius risings that, you know, the last 18 months hasn't been the easiest. I mean, it hasn't been easy for anybody because we're in a time of change. We're in like an epic, can I even say that word? Epic? Or epoch, thank you. Oh Lord, Mercury retrograde. Clearly it's in our 3rd house of the mind, so like getting the words out are a little challenging, but we are in a time of change. And, you know, as you know, I'm a podcast host and I talk to a lot of people. There, a lot of indigenous prophecies have prophesized this. We're just in a time where the collective consciousness is shifting. And if you are a Sag rising who has done the inner work, who has been releasing some karmic shit, then you have some experiences that you can share. Even if it's not online, even if it's just with your family or your you know, the people around you, your little community, your wisdom, I mean, Sagittarius is a energy, is a sign, is a archetype of like somebody who's a teacher, somebody who has something to say through lived experiences. So I have for you the first chakra, and this is from the Sacred Geometry of Relationships Oracle. And it says the energy of the root chakra supports our sense of safety in a physical world and reminds us to enjoy our physical bodies. And I studied the chakras and the chakra system when I studied Kundalini Yoga in India. And this energy center is so important. Not that there's like a level of importance, because they're all important, but as human beings, as physical beings, we manifest through this chakra. We have to be able to, and this is kind of how I see Aquarius energy. I see it as we have this expanded mind and we tap into this like cosmic web of ideas and thoughts, and we have to bring that down from the 5D through our body and down to our roots so that we can manifest it out in physical form. And until we as physical human spiritual beings do that, they all just become ideas. So this is something that I try to tell people who are on the spiritual path, is like, you can't just jettison yourself out into the 5D, because then you wouldn't need a body. And you also can't just stay in these upper chakras, even though that might seem fun and amazing to channel, to astral travel. Yes, those things are amazing, but you also have to be embodied in your lower chakras. So your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus, because that's how we manifest. That's how we ground things into the physical reality. So if you are manifesting, which I know a lot of Sagittarians are, like myself, because our manifestation abilities have been like somebody dumped water on us, because we're fire signs, and I am a double fire sign, so my sun is in Aries. So I have felt like somebody, the divine, some force has been fogging my ability to manifest, because we are, I'll just say for myself, I was meant to understand fully embodied in this physical form first, that we are more than just physical bodies. We are spiritual beings, and we have the capacity to co-create with spirit. But in order for me to do that, I have to be in my body and activate my root chakra and actually be here and accept what is. But also that my sense of worthiness and my worth is not tied to what I make, what I do, my title, Capricorn in the second house. And we have Pluto there. Pluto's been there since 2008. We have, and the sun was just there in Capricorn season. We have Venus retrograde there. Mercury just went back there. Mars is there now. So clearly Capricorn has been an important lesson for us for a really long time. And it's finishing up this story. Like, this is the last chapter of this Capricorn story. And for me, what that's meant is like, what is your worth? What is your value beyond the material realm? And I have my South Node there natally. So it's been even like more of like a double message for me of like releasing that need to rely on external validation to give me my worth. My worth is just being here, and my worth is just being in my body, and I don't need external validation from anybody else. So I know Sagittarius risings, when they watch this video, get doubly spoiled, because I feel like I can speak to that experience and that energy. And I just know personally a lot of Sagittarius risings who have been going through it as well, and I personally think it was worth it. I mean, I can't really take that time back, obviously, but again, like, I think that I have a deeper appreciation of working with spirit and nature, and I just see everything now with like different perspective. It was like the perspective shift, and that very much is Aquarius energy. So I forgot to share this with the first groups, but I remembered during Scorpio rising that Venus, when it comes back out of the retrograde, is going to have a positive, very harmonious aspect to Uranus and Taurus in our 6th house. So I really feel like if you've been doing the work and if you've been really contemplating on yourself, that we're gonna get nice surprises coming through the form of work, through money, you know, hopefully. Okay, so simplicity. I feel like this has been the lesson for a lot of Sagittarians, and I might be projecting my experiences, obviously, because we are ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter has the tendency to be like, yeah, like everyone gets drinks, you know, like I think that in also capitalism, the fallacy of capitalism is like more is better. But I think that having the South Node in our 1st house with a lot of things being stripped away, I don't know about you, but like I felt like with the South Node in the 1st house, I didn't really care as much about putting on makeup and wearing nice clothes. And I don't think I even went shopping. I haven't been shopping since 2019. I think that was the last time. And I mean, I really didn't need to because it wasn't like I was going anywhere. But I just noticed that like my life has been simplified. I've consumed less. I've been traveling less. I've been shopping less, just consuming less things. And it's like, in my mind, and also having, you know, all the Capricorn energies, it's made me realize like how much I don't need. Okay, so let's ask for any additional messages through the tarot. So really, like, you want to look at where you have 12 degrees of Aquarius and set new intentions for like, do you want to write a book? Do you want to start a blog? Do you want to start a presence on social media? Do you want to start like a community? Do you want to go for a short distance travel? Like, what are your like goals? I know a lot of Sagittarians I know are really excited about traveling, and I'm excited about that too. I have a couple weddings this year for my cousins, which is 3rd house, right? Cousins. It's like a lot of the people around me have really significant life things going on right now, which is very 3rd house. But me personally, I'm just like still single as a Pringle, but it's okay. I love it. Let me know if there's any Sagittarius risings who've met somebody new with the new North Node in Gemini, or went through a breakup or anything. I just want to know. I'm just very curious about the tea. Whenever I look back at like when I've been in relationships and when I've like the nodes where they were, it was always in, for me personally, the 6th and 12th house, which is what's happening now. So fingers crossed. I love this. I love this energy. The first card we have is the Fool, which is Uranus energy. And what I was saying about Uranus in the 6th, I think there's going to be a lot of surprises and a lot of like these moments where you're like, oh my God, all of that hard work, all of that introspection, all of that retrograde shit, all of that Capricornian shit that like, you know, we're Sagittarians. We don't want somebody telling us to like put our head down and work hard, right? We want to like go out there and explore. And now I feel like there's this new beginning happening. And it's going to be a slow roll too. And I feel like the energy's shifting, but it's not like 8 of Wands kind of shifting. It's like very slow turning of the wheel. And then we have the Page of Wands, the Page of Inspiration, which I love seeing the Page of Wands because this is like fresh energy. This is like, I want to travel. I want to go do the thing. I want to go to art museums. I want to go meet people. I have fresh ideas from you know, everything that I've been through, like I want to share it. I want to like create a vision board. Like this is the kind of energy that I'm feeling for us. And obviously I am excited about that. And then the bottom deck energy is the Empress. And this is very much Venusian Taurus energy. The Empress is like creativity, fertility. If any of you are wanting to have children, Jupiter's in the 4th. Jupiter is going to go into the 5th, which is all about children. So something to think about. And if you don't want that, then protect yourself. But this is like birthing something new. We have something of a new beginning with a fresh idea. Again, Page of Wands could also mean a child. So just be careful if you don't want that. But I really feel like for a lot of Sagittarians that this is going to be a new beginning, something birthing. But I think it's going to be birthed in a way that's something creative, something where it's something that you've never done before. Aquarius energy. It's something that through all of your experiences, you're going to share it with the world to help people. Well, happy new moon, Sagittarians. I love you so much. Bye. Hello, Capricorns, Capricorn risings. How are you doing? I know that's a loaded question, and I know Capricorns have been going through it for, it's not even a minute, probably like a full hour. And I love you for that so much. My sister's a Capricorn rising, and I know it's been tough. I know it's been this like when is it going to be my turn feeling, right? Because that's Saturn. Saturn's always going to make you put in the extra work, make you put in that effort. But I do have to say that when you get to wherever it is that you want to be, it will last for a really long time, and it's something that's a sure bet. So it's so interesting because Capricorn is actually a yin sign. It's a very feminine sign, but our current perceptions of Capricorn, I think we think of it more in the toxic way of like hard work and daddy energy. But I think exactly what this card is saying is sensitivity. It's 35 reduces to an 8. The frequency of sensitivity helps us open to the world of subtlety and detail while anchoring in a structural foundation. How Capricorn is that? Thus supporting us to become more fully multi-dimensional. Holy shit. This is exactly what I was trying to say. Capricorn is like, it's so interesting. Capricorn from like just face value is like, oh, they're serious, they're so stoic, but they're actually super sensitive, but you'll never know it. Like Capricorns are so hard to crack. But I feel like most people, maybe except for water signs, don't really show emotion because emotion has not been cultivated in American, Western, modern society. Like we were always told like don't cry, or boys don't cry, or you know. So I don't necessarily think that's like a Capricorn's fault. I just think that Capricorns hold it all in and they don't let people in. But when you do, when Capricorns let you in, you're in. And that, I find Capricorns to be super sexy. Specifically Capricorn men. I have my Juno and Vesta in Capricorn, and there's something about Capricorn it's just like, does he like me? Does he not like me? Does he like me? You know? That says a lot about me. But yeah, Capricorns are yin energy. So they are very in tune, very sensitive. But at the same time, they have this structural foundation that helps them to be more creative in their own way. Obviously, I'm generalizing here. If you have your sun and moon in a different sign. Oh my God, simplicity. I got this card for Sag risings, which I feel like is actually like a good message, because, and at the bottom of the deck, which I just saw, it was new beginnings. I got this for Sag risings, and I felt like that was very apropos for them, but for you it's in a different way. So you obviously have this massive stack of energy in your first house of self, and I think what this has been forcing you to do, I'm sorry that I'm not talking about the new moon as much, but you know, these things don't happen in a vacuum. Like one thing leads to another, but I promise I'll start talking about the new moon in Aquarius. What all of these energies in your first house has been forcing you to do, to see the true beauty of who you are as a being. Capricorns, I know, oftentimes look outside of themselves to find validation for their own worthiness, for their own worth. So like high achievement, climbing the proverbial ladder, building a very successful business, like getting shit done, getting things in a material way. But I think Pluto being there, Venus retrograde being there, Mercury being there, Mars being there, it's like, no, but if we stripped all of that away, like, who are you, Capricorn? Like, who are you really? And really what you are is a divine being that's magnificent, that is worthy of being loved just by being you, by doing nothing. If you decided tomorrow that you were going to wake up and you're just going to enjoy your life, and actually most Capricorns and Capricorn risings that I know are actually really well off. They just don't think that they are, because they're comparing themselves with other people. Most Capricorns I know are very successful in the very traditional sense, but they're the only ones that don't know that they are. So, not to call you out there, but I think that this has, and maybe you're seeing white feathers to remind you of that. Whenever I see white feathers, it's my spirit guides being like, hello, we're with you. But I think that these energies have been like reminding you that, you know, what do you value, Venus? You know, Venus is a planet of attraction. It has nothing to do with the outside. It's all about within you. So we're going to ask the tarot if they have any other things to say. And while I talk, oh wow, it already came out already. See? I knew it. The Emperor. Having the confidence within yourself. You have your own inner authority to dictate what it is that you want in your life. The outside, the outer realm, what you are manifesting is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. The Death. You're definitely going through some kind of transformation. I won't even tell you that. I know it for a fact, because I know Capricorn risings in my life. They're going through this overhaul of your sense of self, and it has been dark because this is ruled by Pluto, well, Scorpio. And so there's like 3 phases, right? You have to go into the underworld. You have to spend time in the underworld. You have to understand what's going on. You have to bring awareness and light to it. And then you make your ascent back up, being transformed. Queen of Voices, like seeing the truth. And I love that there's crows around here, because birds, again, might be a very significant symbol for you. We saw it with the feather here. But the Queen of Swords, this is the Queen of Voices. She doesn't like have like time to think about how she feels. She doesn't have time to waste. It's like, let's get to the truth. Let's get to the heart of the matter. And even though this is not a earth sign, Capricorn to me embodies this energy of like, again, at the surface level, you are very stoic, you're very methodical, you know, you put your head down, you do your thing. But really, like, I know Capricorns are super sensitive, and they're super sensitive to the environment too, and how other people view them. But this is like, I know who the fuck I am. I'm the Emperor. I know what my worth is. And now I'm going to talk about the new moon. It's happening in your 2nd house, which is all about your value, your resources, your worth, money. Okay, so like I was saying, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, or maybe I didn't say it, but you know, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is a very traditional sign. It's very, it's an energy where you have to put in the effort, you have to put in the time. Aquarius, also ruled by Saturn, but it's also ruled by Uranus, which is all about, you know, awakening and thinking outside the box and moving towards the future. And it's interesting that like you might have these views about yourself, but certain things will have to, your mindset kind of has to shift around your value and what you're worth, because also Saturn is in Aquarius right now, your ruler. And this new moon is maybe a good time to, you know, work on your money mindset, work on your value, work on like, what other ways can you bring in money? What other ways can you bring more value to yourself? Because the more you invest in yourself, the more you will value yourself, the more you will be able to charge other people for your value. Because money, like they all say, money is just energy. But you have to get to a place where you truly believe that, because as humans, we put our own meaning and feelings behind money. And when you remove all of the attachment to what you think money will bring you, so for some people, money brings them safety and security. If you can heal that and just really see money as a form of exchange for value, I think you're gonna really see that like you don't actually have to work as hard as you think. That money is just energy and money can flow through you. I hope this makes sense. I felt like that was like a lot, but I really felt like for Capricorn rising specifically, this has been a long haul. And I just send you so much love, and I will see you at the full moon. Bye. Hello, Aquarius risings, the star of the show. This new moon is happening in your first house of your self, your identity, your physical body as well. And how are you doing, by the way? Yeah, let's just start pulling cards and see what comes out, because this new moon is happening in your first house of self. So when you have you know, the sun in your first house, when you have these like energies in your first house, there's a focus on self and taking care of yourself and illuminating things that you might, you know, illuminating things that will help you on your own self-discovery journey. And that's why the first house is always so important, because as within, so without, our world is shaped by how we view ourselves, our perception of ourselves, and our belief in ourselves. So if there was a time to really get back to your self-care, self-growth, therapy, any kind of thing that will help you unravel the layers to self, are going to be really good at this time in this new moon. You still have Saturn there, so something is being asked for attention for the long term, for the long haul, and we need Saturn. I mean, your traditional ruler is Saturn, so as much as like Saturn can put a damper on things, like we need Saturn to make us commit to something. And the commitment has actually been a word that's been coming up for a lot of groups, because of all the Capricorn energy as well. And I don't know, like maybe I'm just like from a generation where my parents are still together, even though I don't know if they're necessarily happy or if it's a very healthy relationship. But you know, as the generations go on and on, in terms of partnerships and like having the attention span of like 10 seconds, it's like each reel time, each TikTok time is like less and less. It's like we don't have the commitment to just like commit to something anymore. And maybe that's just my own observations, but I just remember a time growing up where things moved a lot slower and you had to commit to things. Like you actually had to go to something and commit to it. Whereas like I feel like now it's so easy to flake. And I don't like that. I like having a commitment. 6th chakra. The energy of the third eye chakra supports our inner insight and intuitive abilities. Ooh, okay. So maybe some of you are getting, first of all, are you having some intuitive dreams because you have such a huge cluster of energy in your 12th house? And with Mars being there, Mars in the 12th house is having very active dreams. But clearly you're being called to focus on your spirituality and getting really serious about that. You know, Capricorn in the 12th with all these energies there. So maybe, you know, some of you might be getting more into spirituality. Actually, all of the Aquarius risings that I know are in spirituality, are into astrology, are into like the esoteric arts. Adventure. I love this card, by the way. It just reminds me of a rainforest. Yeah, so you have, let's see, you have Taurus, the North Node in Taurus, and roots and family and ancestry. So really diving deep into, you know, where you come from, your roots, doing ancestral healing if that feels like something that you would be interested in doing. And then the South Node in your 10th. I was saying this to each of the fixed signs that this is your time. It is time. It is time for the fixed signs to do their shifting. And that's going to be interesting because you're fixed signs. So all of the fixed signs are having their angular houses activated, which is a big deal because our angular houses are the major life areas. So for you, with Saturn being in Aquarius in your first house, and then I think Leos get off a little bit easier because there's no planets really going through Leo, but the North Node being in Taurus and Uranus being in Taurus and the South Node being in Scorpio, it's like, yeah, you're going through it. 9 of Inspiration, which is the 9 of Wands. Perseverance, not giving up. Yeah, I think the focus for a lot of Aquarius risings is going to be on this balance between like family life and your career. What is your greater legacy? What karmic things are you going to release? And how do you feel supported by your roots and your family? And this has a huge impact on your sense of being and your identity as a person, because these are, again, like square to you. Also, we're having such huge activations in Aquarius. You know, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction. Then we had Jupiter and Saturn together in Aquarius. Now we have Saturn still in Aquarius. It's like, it feels to me almost like a Saturn return. And if you're going through a Saturn return right now as an Aquarius rising, wow, I give you so much support and love. But it feels like a huge major life shift happening for you that you might feel like, oh my God, am I going to have enough energy for this? But the 9 of Wands is a Sagittarius card. It's like having hope, persevering, knowing that there's a reason to all of this. And it might be an adventure in a different way. And I think Aquarians are really used to that energy because Aquarians are just, they see the bigger picture, you know? Yeah, and a lot of my Aquarius rising friends have leaned into more of like spirituality and the esoteric. And they've really been leaning on to the creativity because, you know, Gemini was in your 5th house, the North Node there. So a lot of my Aquarius rising friends have either written a book or launched projects, launched art projects. Super creative people. Okay, and then we have the Devil. This is a Capricorn card. So you're being called to really release attachments any attachments that don't serve you, but I feel like most of you have been doing that work anyway with Pluto in your 12th. Venus retrograde in your 12th, Mercury retrograde in your 12th, Mars being there. It's like whatever's happening in your life right now that you feel is like constricting you or you feel like attached to, it might be addictions. And if you need help with that, please seek somebody, a professional, not tarot. But, you know, the 12th house does talk about releasing. And if you are struggling with some kind of addictive behaviors, this is like a sign to maybe put those intentions out there. Because there is something that's being brewed up in here, up in the Aquarius rising. Something's trying to like, I had this feeling like something's trying to be known. And I don't know what that means. Only you would know what that means. Some deep knowing with this third eye. An adventure like you've never gone on before. And maybe some of you are being called to go traveling to your homelands. You know, the North Node in Taurus. Taurus is Mother Earth. Taurus is land. And the North Node being there in your 4th house, like some of you might feel like called to certain lands, certain areas, maybe your motherland, your homeland, where you were really born, maybe where you live now is not your homeland. And that's going to give you more insight into who you are. So I hope that helped, Aquarius risings. Happy new moon in your sign. Bye. Last but certainly not least, our Pisces risings. And this is happening in your 12th house of spirituality, of the unseen realms, of the dream realms, of things that you want to release. And this new moon in Aquarius, first of all, being a Pisces rising, do you just feel like you're living in a dream all the time? Especially with Jupiter being in your 1st house now. And you know, Saturn being in Aquarius in your 12th house. Please help me know what that's like, because I can only imagine being a Pisces rising to begin with. You're very connected to the dream realm. And then having Aquarius in your 12th, it's like a different level of a dream. It's like you're astral traveling somewhere. And then, you know, with the new moon, and do you get glimpses of like different timelines and dimensions? Am I even making sense? I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just channeling right now. But this new moon is happening in your 12th house. And I don't know very many Pisces who are not spiritual or doing, maybe it's not their main profession, but they're definitely doing some kind of spiritual practice or religious beliefs. And so like, if I was to have like an understanding of like a new moon in Aquarius in your 12th house, maybe you're interested in learning astrology, for example, because that's a very, very, Aquarius is a very astrological sign. Or maybe you're interested in aliens, or maybe you're interested in some kind of esoteric art that is just so out of the box. You're like, why am I even interested in this? But you just are. Or maybe you're having crazy dreams and you're like, what does this mean? But maybe it's very significant for your future, you know? And let's see here. Yeah, the North Node in Taurus is in your 3rd house, your quest for understanding. South Node in your 9th house in Scorpio. So there is something about learning here. Like you want to learn something new. And then Capricorn in your 11th house of community and how you show up in groups and long-term goals and long-term wishes. Yeah, some Pisces rising might be actually decide, this is just an archetypical scenario. Take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But some Pisces risings might want to, or are thinking about investing in some kind of course to help them with their career. and their career is tied to their how they show up in a community sense. Because I mean, like Pisces, Aquarius, like those are very collective energies to begin with. Interesting. And yeah, Uranus is in your third house, the North Node being there. So like the next 18 months is going to be a huge focus on, well, first of all, short distance travel, and possibly with the South Node in Scorpio, long distance travel, your siblings, your mind, social media, writing. Do some of you want to write a cookbook? You know, Taurus is all about cooking and eating, but Taurus also rules the throat chakra. So we have divine masculine with number 17. The frequency of the divine masculine supports our active, focused, and strong side, facilitating our capacity to transform our dreams into form. Holy shit, what was I just saying? Or maybe I wasn't saying it like fluently enough or articulating myself. And then the bottom deck is authenticity, which is like Aquarius energy. So basically what I was trying to say is that you want to learn something, or you're being called to learn something to deepen your knowledge base, your mind, that will help you expand your career. And doing that, being more focused in like a masculine, divine masculine way. And that doesn't mean that it's like in a man. It's divine masculine is in all beings. We have divine feminine, divine masculine. And being in the masculine, being focused on doing certain things that will support your dreams. So the feminine, the divine feminine, is dreaming. That's very Pisces. It's like up in the dream realm, you know, daydreaming. My mother's a Pisces. But you need the divine masculine. You need that energy to like focus your energy and like structure yourself, very Capricorn, in order for those things to be manifested. So this new moon in Aquarius is like, you know, obviously tapping into your dreams, like understanding like what your dreams are, like what you want to manifest, and then making a solid plan, third house, Taurus, on like what it is that you need to learn. What is it that you need to, how do you need to structure yourself in a real material way? You know? Do some of you want to be leaders? Maybe. I mean, you have the divine masculine and leadership. Like that's very like take charge energy. Do I know any Pisces risings? I mean, obviously I'm generalizing based on the rising sign. So like you could be an Aries sun with a Pisces rising and be like, yeah, I'm used to that energy. So please take this as it resonates and look at your sun and moon as well. But I'm just letting you know what I see. So this will all even make more sense if your sun happens to be in Taurus, or your sun happens to be in Sagittarius in your 10th house, and you're like, yeah, I want to be a leader. I want to write books. I want to speak. I want to like take action. So I think for you, this new moon is going to be about using your higher mind, your expanded mind, but you have to bring it down to the 3D. I mean, we all do, but especially Pisces rising. With Jupiter in your first house, it's like, wow, you could really allow your mind to go there. Okay, so now I'm going to ask the tarot if it has any other information. So I've been filming this across 2 days, and you're my very last sign, and now I'm starting to get a little sleepy, even though I had a chai latte just before this. So channeling takes a lot out of me. So we have the 8 of Materials. Exactement. The 8 of Materials talks about, this is a Virgo card. This talks about putting in the work for mastership. Now, normally, I would think of this card as the ninth house, which you have in Scorpio, which the South Node is there, but I think that's a good thing. I think what's going to happen is you're going to be able to focus on what it is that you want to create in a very real and tangible way. And then you're going to be able to hone in on one thing, because Pisces is like this, right? Like everything is amazing, but you're going to be able to, if you so choose and feel called to, hone on one thing and really master that. That's why you also have to look at your opposite sign, and your opposite sign is in Virgo. And Virgo, this is a Virgo card, and Virgos are really good at doing this. They're really good at being detail oriented. They're really good at like picking out the grammar mistakes and dotting the I's and crossing the T's, whereas Pisces is like zoomed out. It's like everything is amazing, everyone is amazing, you know what I mean? And I know this has nothing to do with the new moon in Aquarius, but as I was saying, for all of the signs, I really try to just focus on just the lunation, but these things don't happen in a vacuum. There's like other things going on that also tell the story. So I think that if you can really focus, again, on what it is that you want to manifest and bring it down in a real tangible way, Three of Pentacles, and ask for help from your community, people around you, your siblings, your neighborhood, North Node and Taurus in your third house. And really, like, you have 2 Pentacles here. Oh, my nose is itchy too. It is time, Pisces rising, to bring your dreams into the reality, into the real physical realm. Okay, do you hear me? Do you hear me? Now is the time to take your dreams and bring it down into the real reality. And that might mean, don't get scared, that might mean like really getting into the reality. Okay, I know you have a new moon in Aquarius in your 12th house, which is great and all. And you should be able to tap into the dream realm, but you really have to get real and get with the divine masculine energy, because I have a feeling that a lot of you want to be leaders. Okay, well, I hope that helped. Oh, and also that's true because Jupiter, your ruler, is the planet of like the teacher and the guru. So because it's so powerful in Pisces, this is your time to truly expand in that way. But I love you so much, Pisces rising. Happy new moon. Bye.